told him, yeah. Let's do this.
Seamless.
That was great.
All right, time for Adam at the movies. What do you got?
Yeah. So let's talk about this for a second. Do you remember just a few years ago, 3 years ago, as a matter of fact, the GameStop financial
How can we forget it, right?
Where the stock markets went wild. The public was making bids on GameStop. This was at a point where the market, a number of hedge fund traders had all bet against GameStop and figured that if GameStop goes under, they're going to make millions. But the public came back and started buying GameStop, driving the price of the stock up. And it became this wrestle between hedge fund traders and the public. This was a big deal. Well, there's a movie about it now, and it's called Dumb Money, because the public is known as dumb money to the hedge fund traders. Let's roll the clip and take a look at this.
Yo, what up, everybody? Roaring Kitty here. I'm gonna pick a stock and talk about why I think it's interesting, and that stock is GameStop.
Babe, how much did we make today?
5 million.
How much did we lose today?
$1 billion.
And yesterday?
4 million.
And yesterday?
$1 billion.
Yeah. Billions of dollars at play here. And look, it's Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
So this is a star-studded cast. Paul Dano plays Keith Gill, who's also Roaring Kitty. If you were a participant in this whole GameStop maneuver that was happening just a few years ago, I had a friend who was a part of this, and she called me up. She's like, "Are you a part of this?" I said, "What are you talking about? I knew nothing of this whole thing going on." She's like, "I plan to retire in a couple weeks if this continues." I mean, that's the level this got to, because by the time it hit mainstream media, this thing was already well out of control, and eventually the U.S. government would step in to try and maybe correct things. But Bill, you had a friend who created a documentary about this, and we talked about it here.
Right. It's called Apes Together Strong. Yeah. And basically what happened in the end is that the big funds won over the retail investors, and a lot of people lost a lot of money, or what looked like to be a lot of money, in their bets on GameStop.
Right. And so this film itself, infuriating but inspiring at the same time, because while there were those who did lose a lot of money, there were some who actually did come out as winners, and the film details this. So this film actually does a pretty good job recounting those events and those facts, but it's all done from sort of the fictional side of things. So we get multiple storylines all told together with some real star-studded folks involved in this as well. So it's a compelling story, it's an interesting story, and what's really particularly curious about this is that this follows COVID protocols to the nth degree, because you have to realize this film was being made while a pandemic was going on, and the way they did that is a lot of these scenes, it's just 1 or 2 people on camera at a time. So you have all these big stars in this film, but they're never all on screen together at the same time, because you're getting these multiple different stories. So it's a really just interesting, I guess, academic side of this as well. The unfortunate thing is that if you're into trading and if you're into all that, you're not going to get any real insight to how trading is done from this film. It just barely glosses over how any of that works. But the story itself is really rich, and I think the film itself is compelling to watch. The one other note I'll make about this, executive producers on this. Do you remember the characters by the name of Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss?
Yes. Yeah.
Those were the guys that took on Facebook in a lawsuit back in 2004. And won. They got $65 million out of the deal on that. Well, they became cryptocurrency investors. They are some of the executive producers on this film.
Oh, funny.
So this is just, it's really interesting who's all involved in this from stem to stern, start to stop. It's an hour 45 minutes, rated R. I was going to say PG-13, but it's rated R for language concerns. But this is one, I would say, it's recent history, but it's still really interesting to watch. So
how many popcorn?
I'm giving this 3 popcorns.
3 popcorn, yeah.
This is one to catch up with.
Nice.
So, yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
Well, check that out.
Yeah.
Good. A rare 3 popcorn from Adam, yeah.
We're going there.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Shall we get to your weather?
Yeah, let's check out what's happening.